faculty sometimes find the idea of this program before they really understand what it's about. They find it kind of puzzling or threatening because it sounds like you're inviting students to tell teachers how to teach, but it really isn't about that. It's about inviting students to share what they know about what happens in classrooms and have that intersect with what teachers know about what happens in classrooms, which students don't know anything about either. One of the most interesting outcomes of this work is that students realize, wow, teaching's pretty hard. You have to do a lot of planning. You have to do a lot of thinking. Teachers really care about these things. Students don't necessarily know that. And so being in partnership helps them know that, and knowing that helps them be better students. Then they have much higher tolerance for the diversity of students in a classroom. They're not the only one in that room trying to learn. They understand how much work teachers put in. So those are real benefits to teachers, because then students are more engaged, more interested, more patient, more responsible for what happens in the classroom, not just the teachers. And so for faculty, the reason to do this is to get that other perspective that we lose pretty quickly. As teachers, we forget what it's like to be a learner, and we know the content, and so we forget what it's like to have to learn as quickly as we expect students to learn. I think one of the most important things is to name the existing reality, to say we're used to working in these separate and clearly prescribed roles. And what we're trying to do with this project is to blur those boundaries a little bit, to complicate those roles a little bit. So I think naming that and then intentionally inviting students into a different kind of dialogue helps make it clear to students why this might be different. And then even going beyond that to say, I value your perspectives on what learning is like in my classroom. I can't know that. I can only know what it's like to teach in this classroom, but only you know what it's like to learn in this classroom. So you have a perspective that I don't have and that I would benefit from hearing, so that I can make sure that the learning is the best experience that it can be for you. And again, it isn't about what students like. It's about what best facilitates their learning. And that distinction, I think, is really key, because what students like and don't like plays into the consumer model of education, right? But analyzing what makes for good learning, that's a very different conversation, and that's what this conversation is about. Another piece of advice is to start small. If you're new to partnership as an idea or a practice, not to take on the complete reconstruction of your entire department or program, but rather think about, could I co-create an assignment with students? Or could I co-create some kind of classroom activity with students? And you'd want to think about how to structure that, because students don't necessarily know how to do that work, and can learn from you about how to teach, and you can learn from them about how they learn best. So something small and contained, and then as that grows and maybe you have other partners join you, then it can get bigger, but start small.